everyone, this is Chris here from Thrill Rides, and I've had a couple of questions. So many of you guys know, and I'll show you guys everything going on with it currently. But Triple Loop is complete. The track has been complete. Everything has been aligned with that. So that's great news on that. But somebody posted a comment in one of our Facebook feeds saying that he doesn't want to be the next person to basically die on the coaster. And today I just wanted to kind of go over everything in the industry, just in general, just to talk about like how everything works in the United States compared to Mexico, what kind of standards Indiana has in terms of ride safety compared to what many of people might not know, and just in general on why this coaster will take longer to test and things of that nature, because the United States, and depending, it's state to state, but basically the United States is a lot safer than what you're going to find in other countries like Mexico and stuff like that, where the park's responsible until something happens and then they're held accountable. The United States and most of the states that have amusement parks do not work like that. Some state standards are more stringent than others. But most states are going to follow whatever the manufacturer standards are of every ride and attraction and coaster. And some states might be more stringent. Some might not be as stringent, but a lot of them have required test runs every morning that they're required to do before even the coaster starts. And usually most parks, I don't know how carnivals work, but most parks are usually inspected. So you'll have somebody walking the track, inspecting every little nook and cranny a couple hours before the park opens, and that's what that is. So let's go to the comments over here. Hey, what's going on? I apologize, guys. I was running a little late here. I don't know why I scheduled it for stuff. Track is safe, 40 years old, and it was damaged during the accident, but could still be repaired. Exactly, it's steel. Steel could be repaired. You could re-weld sections in there. And obviously that's going to be inspected by the state. I don't think an accident will happen. I don't think so either. They're not going to want that type of thing to happen. It would shut down the park forever. Obviously, any accident that happens could be like that. Without information on the trains, it's all conjecture. The trains are probably being sent. I think the trains have been sent off because they are not out on site. We've looked for them, and they are not currently out on site. So it's I mean, I think Indiana Beach is going to make sure they do the right thing on that, because they want to make sure you guys don't have any questions on it. So I'm just typing something in here. I apologize. I'm going to talk about the standards of how inspections on coasters work in the state of Indiana. So I've actually worked at amusement parks in Indiana before. Also, Zach from our team is currently employed at Holiday World, so he could throw in his conjecture on that. He's currently obviously in class, so he's not available at this time, but I've already consulted him many times. So what happens before a season even starts in the state of Indiana is you have what is called a pre-park opening inspection. So all the park rides and attractions have to pass an inspection period where you're going to have multiple cycles that the coaster is going to run through. Also, the state inspectors are going to do their own inspection, and this is going to run through a period of a few days. Once that's complete, the park is given the go-ahead to open up, and the rides are approved for them to operate. So in order for any park in Indiana to even be able to open a ride, the first thing they have to do is pass a state inspection. And let's see what we have here. Red, white, and blue. What will be what color? We already know what color it's going to be. Red, white, and blue. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about safety standards and inspections. Yeah, the coaster is going to be repainted. That's already been revealed. I'll show you guys a video at the end of this discussion, this live video discussion. I see a little discussion over here. What color will it be? I appreciate if you don't advertise your videos on to our YouTube channel. If you do, you will be blocked. It's just, I don't want advertising on here. You have your own YouTube channel to do what you want. You have groups to share your information on. I don't want that kind of information on our YouTube channel. So I would appreciate it if you guys don't advertise your YouTube feeds on here. Here's Matt Mateo. I was told the Steel Hog was built for $3 million. Why did they buy this from a third up and has a bad history? Not started. I think a lot of it has to do. So from what we understand, Staples went down to Mexico to buy the shuttle loop. And obviously the shuttle loop is going to Niagara Amusement Park and Resort. And in time of him doing that, he was talked into also getting the triple loop and a variety of different other different rides and attractions there. That's how they ended up with the Condor ride as well. So the Condor ride will be at Indiana Beach. I actually got a group outing message or email on that says either this year or next year. Hopefully it's this year that Condor opens. I'm not sure what section of the park. But I think a lot of it has to do with most rides and attractions for like most coasters will take an initial 2 to 3 years to plan and build. So they're going to start talking to coaster manufacturers. They're going to have their budget. They're going to tell them what kind of layout they want. Then usually they go with like back and forth on, we could do this. This is what the layout will be. They call it a napkin sketch. A lot of coaster companies will call it like a napkin sketch. And what they'll do from there is from there, they'll go into planning stages, put a down payment on it. Most of it's funded like monthly. That's why you'll see liens put out on certain parks. Like SeaWorld had a lien because of COVID. They weren't paying a couple coasters. So you'll see like liens go out if they don't pay it on time. But they basically pay monthly payments on the coaster until it's paid in full. Steel Hog was built for $3 million. I apologize. I apologize on that. Deliveries don't know how to not knock. But anyway, sorry. Just a second here. I'm going to mute this. Let me go ahead and mute this real fast here. So you guys don't hear the dog barking on here. Mm-hmm. Let's continue with this. I apologize. I couldn't go back on Steel Hog, see it outside, but I assume it's there. Yes. And Steel Hog was built for $3 million. And I think back then, obviously, that was probably in the planning stages for a while. That was a new model called the El Loco model. As many of you guys know, Spackman ran a paper ride or a wristband type of amusement park, which basically meant that they probably made a lot more money than what the park currently is making because they were averaging like 900,000 visitors a year. I think they're slowly getting back up to that range. But I think it has to do with money and stuff like that. So, no problem, Sean. We appreciate doing the updates, and I wanted to do more news and information and stuff like that. But on your Steel Hog comment, it's just COVID was going on when Eugene Staples bought the park. He did get, that grant from the county, but I mean, the park was in a lot of shambles from neglect and a lot of coasters and attractions. That takes a lot of money and effort. And then they got to look at their year-to-year spending. So I imagine the first 2 years was to see their net income, their gross income, net income, to see where they're at for general spending. So when they want to go get a loan for a coaster, they have, proof of yearly expenditures and net income. And then from there, they'll talk to a coaster manufacturer. I imagine we're going to see something like in terms of the water park getting redone here in the near future, a new coaster going up probably in the next 2 or 3 years. I think the area of the park that actually needs the most work is probably the water park. The water park needs to be, I think, handled next. And then obviously the current coasters need to get their retracking done. And then after that, I would see them adding a new coaster. Obviously, they just added a used Pinfari coaster, and they're calling that Cyclone. I think that's the original name from that. That also came from like it was a moving carnival thing. So also triple loop. Like Matt Mateo said, it must be cheaper and get this coaster. Yes. I think the most expensive part of it is probably refurbishing the attraction and the change, and also the transportation costs. The similar incident actually happened in Canada. There's a place called West Edmonton Mall, and there's another Schwarzkopf that's up there, and they kind of had the similar issues. They had an accident over there. I don't know if anybody died on that one. I'm not 100% certain on that, but they were able to fix everything and get everything up to standards, and they have had no issues ever since then. So a lot of people know about how triple loop works in the industry, and they're going to learn from the mistakes. That's the great thing about the amusement park industry and the theme park industry, is if any incident happens, the manufacturer puts out new regulations and things of that nature for the rides and attractions that they have, and the industry adjusts to that. So the industry is always adjusting in the amusement park industry. So you're never going to see a repeat incident most of the time happen. 3 deaths on Mind Blender. Thanks for letting me know that. Yeah, Mind Bender was a freak incident. I think that was more to do with the translation from German over to French, I believe, or German over to English. I think it was German over to French. I hope the Hoosier Hurricane gets fully retracted. If not, I could see them maybe bringing a company in to reprofile and redo the coaster. I could see that being done in future. No, that did not happen this year. That happened a long time ago. If you go to Coaster College's YouTube channel, he did a video on it. I recommend going to check out his video. But I'm going to bring up how the rides and regulations work in the state of Indiana. I'm bringing up here. There we go. This is on the Insurance Journal. So this is just a general thing, so you guys can kind of read along here. You'll see it right here. So you can read along with me. To ensure the safety of amusement rides in Indiana, state safety regulators conduct hundreds of inspections of amusement devices each year. The Elevator and Amusement Ride Division of the Indiana Department of Homeland Security is responsible for inspecting all mechanical amusement rides in the state once a year. According to the department, there are approximately 19,000 regulated elevators, escalators, and amusement rides in the operation in the state. About 900 amusement ride inspections are conducted by state inspectors annually. Now, that's Indiana Beach. That's going to be carnivals. That's going to be Holiday World. That's going to include everything that has to do with the amusement industry. Inspections include reviews on operator training and ride maintenance records. So they actually do test a lot of the crews at these parks and test what they know and stuff. So, I mean, they're not only inspecting the rides, they're also inspecting your knowledge of knowing how the safety procedures and stuff like that are on rides and attractions. Oh, this year? No, I haven't seen anything about it getting retracked this year. I think they were just fixing the problematic areas of Hoosier Hurricane. Michigan-based Skyer Entertainment Group provides amusement rides for the LaPorte County Fair. The company's director of marketing said there haven't been significant incidents on the rides in recent years. However, the company has seen an increasing problem with cell phone usage on rides. So obviously that's a problem. This is just like in terms of basically, this is just like in terms of basic ride inspection. So you know that they're going to test your knowledge on there. So they're going to test their knowledge. They're going to inspect the ride according to the manual and everything that was built in terms of specs of the ride. And then they're going to run test runs to inspect every little portion of the ride. And also the parks, before the park even opens, I used to work at a park. Zach used to work at a park. I actually worked at Indiana Beach for a little while back in the day. There was always 2 to 3 hours before the park even opened. The maintenance crew was there. They were inspecting all the rides, running test runs on the rides, running the full, walking the full length of the wooden track on the wooden roller coasters to inspect every little square inch of that. They actually do that at Holiday World on the Voyage as well, and it's over a mile long. So you can imagine how long that inspection takes, probably about 3 hours before park opening. So they inspect that. They inspect the Steel Hog. They inspect all the flat rides. And they do all this to ensure that it's going to be safe and operational. If they run into any issues during those inspections, they automatically shut down the ride They fix that issue. They run more tests. And then after that, after running all the tests on there, then they open it to the public at park time, shortly after park time. That's why you might see delayed openings on rides and attractions when you go to amusement parks. A lot of people get mad and frustrated on that, but it's not a big issue on that. Like I said, sometimes it's an issue that they find. Maybe a sensor went bad. They have to replace the sensor. Then they have to check the computer system to ensure that sensor is fixed, because one wrong or one misfire on a sensor or any part of that coaster could cause issues throughout the day. So they would rather delay the opening and fix the issue before the park opening. When do you think the Triple Loop will open? I'm thinking at the latest June of this year. I don't think it's going to open opening weekend. I don't believe it's going to. If it does, it does. But I'm shooting for more of like a June opening on that, just because I think they're going to have to run the rides and inspections. They're going to have to make sure everything's operating 100% sure and standards. The state's going to probably run more inspections on this since it had problems over in Mexico. So I see state inspectors running more test runs than they normally do on most rides of attractions when they get put into parks, just because they want to make sure that it's operational to a standpoint where they're not going to run into any issues and there's not going to be any questions when anybody rides on the actual coaster. So you're going to see a more thorough inspection probably done on this coaster above their standard inspection, just to probably go over more, regulations to ensure that nothing like that ever happens in the state of Indiana. So after they do their rides, tests, and attractions, then the employees actually run test runs with the trains. Once the employees run their test runs, I think in the state of Indiana, it's like 10 runs. Then they open the ride to people. So I'm not sure on the flat rides. I just know that the coasters, I believe it's like 10 times you have to run it around its track before they could actually open it to the public. So with Quimera, or also known as American Dryer Looping, that's at Indiana Beach, what happened down there had to do with using aftermarket parts. So a ride inspection actually came out on that coaster, and they weren't using manufacturer specs, manufactured parts from the actual ride manufacturer, which is Schwarzkopf, but Schwarzkopf is not actually around anymore. So a different company owns them. I believe it's S&S owns all it. I'll double check on that. I'm trying to figure out here who's actually running this now. I believe it's S&S. Anyways, we'll go over that at a different time anyways. But yeah, so they're going to order the parts on there, but a lot of manufacturer owner manuals, ride specs, when they replace any parts, it's got to be the parts that are in there. So they were using aftermarket parts and accessories. They were running them dry. They were running the ride with no trims, which I know everybody hates trims, but they serve a purpose. So the trims weren't catching. It was running through the course a lot faster than normal. That causes a lot of wear and tear on the brakes, on the wheels, on the actual coaster, because a lot of those forces, yeah, we feel those forces, but also it wears and tears down on the actual ride vehicle itself. So that train probably had a lot of wear and tear due to the fact that it was running faster than manufacturer specs. A lot of that stress and wear gets put on there. And if the park, like what I saw in the report, if the park wasn't performing proper inspections, or if they're holding off on replacing things, and then you run into the issue of what happened, which is you're going to have the back car derail because something detached from it because it wasn't installed properly or it had wear and tear. And then in return, that caused it to fly off the track. Now, I'm not sure what the standards are down there, but I would expect a ride operator, being a former ride operator like I am, so I would expect a ride operator to notice stuff like that and stop the ride in attraction. Like that's what we were taught over here. So I expect, you stop the ride, you have maintenance come out and inspect it. You say, you noticed something going on with that coaster that is out of the ordinary. That's why ride crews always ride. Mindbender is a lot bigger, I believe. But that's why you always have the crews. So the crews, most of the time they'll have somebody from the crew actually ride the coaster every morning, And then if they feel anything that's out of the ordinary, because they should know that ride up and down, that's what they're trained to do. Then they notified maintenance that they noticed something on there. So I don't know how they're trained down in Mexico. That was a sad incident that happened. It's unfortunate that it happened. But I mean, there's been incidents of amusement rides and attractions and coasters in the industry where things happen. I mean, people have died on Disney rides and attractions, Universal rides and attractions. It just happens sometimes. Now, obviously, some of those are unpreventable. Some of them are preventable. Some of it's, the general public not following the safety that's been given to them at the station. And, you have that sign as soon as you enter a ride or attraction that tells you exactly who shouldn't be riding the ride. If you have these symptoms, do not ride this ride. So they give you warnings before you even ride any ride. Does anybody pay attention to that sign? I think some people do. Most people probably don't. It's kind of similar. It's from the same coaster manufacturer. Sorry about that, Ray Williams. I'm trying to answer all the questions as you guys ask him. He asked, is it like Mindbender in Canada? It is similar to it. What do you think is going to happen to the Montana USA and I don't know. I didn't hear anything about them actually getting those coasters. So I think is the Rusa the wooden coaster? Because if it is, I believe that's already been torn down. And the spinning wild mouse, I wouldn't doubt if the spinning wild mouse goes to a different park somewhere. But that's kind of the generality of everything. Thanks for clarifying that, Straz. But and feel free to, like I said, feel free to share your videos on our group page, Thrill Rides, and also I run Indiana Beach Nation. So feel free to share any updates that you want on there. I have no problem with that. So yeah, I figured it had already been scrapped. I heard about that. I follow a lot of Reddit feeds and stuff like that, so I get a lot of different feeds on that. And also I have connections everywhere that kind of gives me a lot of information on what's going on with the industry. But anyways, they're actually in storage. They're actually in the storage lot. So you know how the kiddie area is? And behind that, there's like a little storage area. The balloons are actually over there. Last time I was over there doing an update, they're actually still in that area. I think they just took them down from the winter, or they're possibly trying to relocate that ride or attraction. But like you can see, like I used to operate flat rides and stuff like that. So like I said, if I noticed anything that was, questionable, I automatically stopped the ride, notified maintenance. So they're going to be trained on that. There's going to be a lot of inspections, a lot of training going on in this coaster because they want to make sure that it's safe for the public. And they're also, I think they are going to put them back out. But like I said, you're not going to have that type of issue. So that comment that somebody made, if you don't trust the park that you're going to, you don't trust the maintenance there, you don't trust the rides and attractions being operated at a certain standard, and you think it's below standard to what you expect, then I recommend not going to that park, because there's no need to be spreading misinformation and comments online about certain stuff. The standards in Mexico are not as the same as the standards in the United States, and every state has different standards, but every state also follows ride manufacturer specs as well. Like I know Ohio requires a lot of test runs before you're even able to open the ride to the public if it's a new attraction. Indiana requires it, but it's not as many test runs. So every state, like I said, is different. Like Florida's probably different. Florida requires a lot of different things. That's where I'm at right now. And I go out to the parks before they open, and they always run test runs on every attraction. That is the standard in the industry. And there is a standard. They have ride training. It's called IAPA. So IAPA sets the standards and training for the industry. A lot of people are actually certified through that organization. Yes, they host conventions in Orlando and internationally, but they also host a lot of training seminars as well, so that you're more trained as a maintenance operator, manager, park owner. They have all that training at IAPA. So some people don't understand how much training and understanding goes into the industry. Like, for instance, running thrill rides. I actually pay attention to a lot of different things. So I love looking at how, lift hills work. You'll see the motor speeding up. You'll see the chain moving around. It's just very interesting, all the components of the coaster. You have the sensors, you have the block zones, and the computer actually knows where the coaster's at different points. So I wonder if they're not going to update the computer on Quimera to a more modern computer, so they're well aware of anything that might go wrong or happen. Like, I mean, sensors are going to tell you. And like I said, the whole purpose of the sensors is so that they know exactly where the train's at on any given point. Steel Hog's probably the newest coaster at Indiana Beach right now. And that's why it'll stop at random points if there's not enough, air pressure coming out of the tank into the air brakes. There's just a variety of different things that happens on there. I think, obviously, Steel Hog probably has like 2 or 3 block zones. It's not probably anything substantial. I imagine 3, because I think there is a small mid-course brake run on it. But anyways, I think it's missing something too. I'm thinking Condor is going over by double shot, and that'd be great views of the lake. So you'd have double shot, you'd have Condor over there. I think that'd be great views of the lake. If it doesn't go over there, I could see it going over in the middle where the turnaround is for Hoosier Hurricane. I could see it going over in that area possibly. I'm just not sure on the L specs how deep they need to go into the ground in order to support the actual ride structure. So obviously they're going to need to excavate and build an actual support structure that's going to actually house the component of the ride. It's kind of similar to what I saw happen down here in Florida with the freestanding drop tower that's over at Icon Park. They had to go so far underneath the ground in order to support the actual support structure that actually houses, the bolts and everything like that in order to support the actual tower that goes up. So I think those are the areas that Condor will go in at. But I wouldn't worry about triple loop. They're going to run plenty of test runs on there. The state's going to run their test runs, and they're going to run to manufacturer specs. Indiana Beach has to do that anyways, because I guarantee their insurance requires that they have to perform morning inspections on every ride and attraction according to manufacturer specs. So the insurance companies might even come out and make sure that they're doing that as well. There's just a lot in the industry that a lot of people don't understand. Like, most people just walk into the amusement park, they ride the rides and attractions, and that's it. But there's a lot more that goes into all that. So that's what this video is on, to just kind of clarify everything that happens and how it's a little bit different over here than you're going to find, in other countries. Like, the United States standards are pretty high. That's why you see very few incidents ever happen. Now, obviously, you have incidents with cell phones, like that insurance document and article mentioned. How you had, you have people bringing cell phones on rides that could be considered, something that could possibly impale somebody and cause serious bodily harm. So, but with that being said, you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday. I'll have some videos coming out from Iron Gwazi. We're still waiting on a lot of that footage to drop down from the actual park. And we definitely appreciate you guys' following the support. I actually have Joe from our team heading down to Indiana Beach this weekend to grab an update of Triple Loop. So we'll have that update on our channel, most likely Sunday. We'll try to release it before the Super Bowl. So look for that to drop probably around, 5, 6 o'clock at night. So you guys have plenty of time to watch that quick video clip, watch the Super Bowl. We're not going to release anything major. We're kind of waiting until the football season's over, and then you'll see like a couple other videos come out. I'm working on the Santa Claus Land video still, and I got a couple abandoned park series that I've been working on that I'll be releasing. So you guys have a great rest of your Friday. Enjoy this weekend. I don't know who you guys are pulling for. I'm pulling for the Rams by 3, but I know a lot of our followers are probably Bengals fans as well. So it should be a good Super Bowl, a good weekend. You guys have a great one. And any questions you guys have, feel free to put it on the YouTube below, because we broadcasted this on StreamYard. StreamYard does not rebroadcast a lot of that stuff on there. So if you have any comments, go ahead and put them down below. I'll be happy to respond to any comments you guys might have or concerns. And you guys have a wonderful, great rest of your Friday. Thanks again for watching. Have a great one.